for another live show where we're going to take a look. Well, we're going to take a look back, but also we're going to take a look at the game ahead of us this weekend. Big game when Arsenal go to Fulham to take them on. And that's an absolutely massive game. We know there's no margin for error. We got Turkish in the building. How you doing, bro?
I'm all good, man. I'm all good, right now. Since the international break, things are going well. Can't complain.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't spoken to you since the other night. You know what I mean? And I didn't see you the other night, but what did you make of it, man? I mean, 2-0. It wasn't, we didn't blaze them away. Like I saw your interview where you said you want us to really put it on them. We didn't blaze them away like that, but it was a comfortable win, wasn't it?
Yeah, should have been. I said 4-0. It should have been 4. If Partey scores that header and Havertz scores that chance, which they both should have, that's 4-0. And really, we didn't or couldn't. There is an argument there for United fans where we didn't get out of second gear, or maybe we couldn't because they done well in terms of their mid-low block and whatnot. But we was never really worried in that game. Man United didn't really offer any threat. And listen, when things ain't going well for us, we know we've got that weapon in the back pocket. And when you're winning 13 corners over 90 minutes, that's part of the game. The reason we're winning 13 corners, like you just said off air, is because, we're in and around your box. We're doing things in and around your box. So if it's such a big problem, like some Man United fans are saying, then we'll work on stopping us getting or anyone getting in and around your box, because I'm glad to see us very strong at set pieces. Years on end, we was, soft-centered, a soft underbelly. It was just, teams could get at us if you just, get a bit physical. Now it's the other way. I'm smiling like they used to smile at us when it was us on the receiving end of it. I'm smiling now.
I'm absolutely loving it. You know what? I was actually talking to my daughter about this earlier, and I was saying, listen, I just remember like we had all these small players, and as a matter of fact, remember we never even you used to see our corners. Yeah, the majority of them were short corners.
Yeah,
because we had no height in the box. So remember, we just always lay them off short and just like we would
go around the box again.
Yeah, and just go around, start passing it around the box. We sort of Wenger times. Well, funny enough, early Wenger times we had a lot of height and a lot of physicality with Vieira and players like that. But then later on, he did go for the profile of these really sort of small players, and we used to get bullied in games. We used to get bullied by Stoke, bullied by Bolton, bullied by loads of different teams. They just stick it on us.
Loads.
And that used to be their weapon, and and we'd wilt under it. But now, like you said, when you look at that team, there's a lot of really big physical players in that team.
What? But Rob, like we are the most hated. I've said this before. we are, because I just don't understand why everything we do well in the end, do well, there always seems to be a twist on it. And I've seen other clubs do it where the same opposition fans that are onto us about these things, glaze these teams. Like, like beginning of the season when we was grinding out results and winning games or drawing games adversely, 10 men, whatever it is, tough away fixtures. Teams are saying boring Arsenal. How many teams have you seen been boring over the last 20, 30, 40 years, go on to win things, but be praised because they are pragmatic, they are defensive, their shape and structure is so rigid that it's hard to break down? But when we do it, it's, they're boring, man. Is this what you waited for 4 years and whatnot? Now it's a set pieces. And the thing is, we score set pieces, we're strong at them, but we're not light years ahead in terms of goals. Like at the start of the game, we had scored 5, they had scored 5. Now we've scored 7, they've scored 5 because of the 2 goals we scored from the set pieces in that game. So why is it everything we do, it just gets twisted into like, somehow it's hated on? Everyone would love to have set pieces as a weapon. We wanted that when we were seeing other teams great at it. So man, we'll take that all day. Obviously, that game we relied upon it because we wasn't creating anything. Fair enough. But since the international break, we scored 13 goals over the first 3 games before that. We wasn't relying on it then. We scored a couple, yes, but we was ripping open Forest, ripping open West Ham, ripping open Sporting. Man United game, they came structured, rigid. We struggled a little to create on the ground, and set pieces won it for us. Long may that continue.
Yeah, and like you said, we should have got some more goals from open play. And the other thing is as well, right? I was really looking at the routines and that we do. And it's brilliant. And, you know, I've said this a couple of times this week. The key to it is that brilliant delivery. You know what I mean? The delivery, whether it be Saka, whether it be Declan Rice, brilliant delivery. And I was saying that, remember, I don't know if you remember this. I remember the first time I saw Declan Rice stepping up to take a corner. I'm thinking, yo, what are you doing taking it? Get in there, man. You know what I mean? You're 6'1", man. You should be in a box. Why are you taking it? But when you see his delivery, you see why. And again, that's where I've got to give these coaches and Arteta a lot of credit for them to identify something like that, to say, right, Declan, actually, we don't, no, your delivery's so good. We don't need you in the box. Because I think there's a lot of teams that just, yeah, they work on corner routines, but they just throw the ball into the box and hope for the best kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Arsenal have really, really thought about this and got it down to a T. And I'll tell you the other thing that was really interesting for me the other night, right? I got to the game and it was a 8:15 kickoff, innit? So I got there a little bit earlier than normal. So when I got there, I saw the Man United players. I have never seen this. I saw the Man United players on the pitch practicing defending corners.
I see that.
And I was like, I just not remember seeing. You know, listen, sometimes when you go to games and you see the warm-ups, you see teams practicing scoring corners.
Yeah.
Not really defending corners, like, or you see them like doing defensive drills where the ball swung in, but they were just like, it was on corners. They were doing, and I was thinking to myself, if you're Arsenal and you're, you know, like the coaches and that, and you're looking across and you're seeing them doing that, you're thinking, they're a bit scared of this.
Yeah.
They're scared of this corner routine and maybe they're not quite prepared. That's why they're practicing it right now. You know what I mean? And certainly every time a ball came in for a corner, it was just chaos in that box, wasn't it?
Fear factors. Listen, I love that we've got fear factor back, you know, and as much as during the first, 10, 11 games, whatever it was, we wasn't playing attacking football. It wasn't easy on the eye. That fear factor of set pieces still remained, you know, and to be a great side, to win great things, you have to, you know, you have to be in the opponent's head before the game because you are so good at certain things, whether it's set pieces, defense, structure, or attack. You know, you need a couple, you know, things that opponents fear. And seeing that, obviously, I saw the clip. Seeing that, I was just like, yeah, you know what it is. You know, it's a problem. When I saw Gabriel out, initially I was worried because it was both, you know, Gabriel and Calafiori, and I thought Delon might start, but he didn't. Check straight away, not start. And I thought, we should be calm. But then the question of your aerial threat is gone. It's not gone. Like you said, the delivery is an ingredient in this
big ingredient
meal. The instruction is an ingredient in this meal. These things are still very prevalent without Gabriel there. I said Havertz is tall. He's a unit. He does go in. That's one thing. Right? I said Saliba's a unit. Partey's not a small guy. We've got big guys all over the pitch. So regardless of Gabriel's the best at it, but regardless, I still expect us to be a threat. And lo and behold, we done what we needed to do. But when you're in the opponent's head like that, when you're seeing them, you know, train for it and practice for it before the game, you know, the first corner, you know, every corner that comes, they are overthinking it. With, you know, is it wise to be doing it there when you're kind of showing us that probably not work on it behind the scenes? Because already, you know, you saw it at the ground, I saw it after, but you know, at the ground, it's in their heads before the game's even kicked off. So
yeah, I found that a bit strange, man. I found it a bit strange. Big up Bill 74, the super chat saying we're not going to be buying a striker for one reason. We're not going to put 250k Havertz on the bench and we won't sell him. Listen, January transfer window coming up. Going to be very interesting to see what Arsenal do, especially if we're still close. Talking about that, Turkish, obviously, with Liverpool dropping points the other night, listen, they still got a massive lead. 7 points is still big. But tricky little game for them tomorrow. You know what I mean? At Everton, they lost there last year. Listen, we lost to Fulham last year as well, but they lost there last year. Last game at Goodison Park, or the last Merseyside derby in the Premier League at Goodison Park. That's going to be some game there tomorrow. You'd expect Liverpool to win it, but it ain't going to be easy. these are those games that when we're talking about and saying those are these hard games when you identify those 10, 11 really touch and go games that you could go draw or loss. This is one of them for them, isn't it?
Yeah, this is their derby, isn't it? This is, we know how it feels to be playing Tottenham, and they've got a fierce rivalry themselves. So we can only hope and pray that, listen, it's the last derby at Goodison Park, but it's the last season then. Look how they've started the season. So I'm only hoping that Everton turn up for this 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Because 7 points, for me, we can't get carried away,
Still a distance.
Still a distance, still 3 games swing. It's still Anfield we got to go to on top of that. So we need a couple more of those. Like we gave them a few of those for them to be 9 points ahead. We need a few of those back. We've got one back during midweek, albeit they drew that game. It'll be interesting to see how they bounce back from that as well, because when Salah scored and made it 3-2, I was like, nah. At that moment, I feel like we've done enough damage that we're not going to win it in the end. It's cost us in the end because we're still going to lose games and whatnot. But there's still that hope. Do you get it? There's still that hope.
Yeah.
The roller coaster ahead for sure. Yeah, even though I feel like we've done enough damage, regardless of that, that's just a feeling. When Salah scored to make it 3-2, I thought that was the dagger for me. It felt like, nah, they've come back.
Like it's done.
Yeah. And then Newcastle scored. I'm thinking, okay, a bit of adversity now, because this is probably the first result of the season for them where you're looking at them thinking you kind of threw it away. You was close to pulling off, a great win, but you threw it away a little. How do you bounce back at Everton? But listen, it might be 2-3-0 at half time, because Everton are poor, but
a bit like us with that. Remember that West Ham one, the 2-2.
Yeah.
And then we went Anfield and we were up. We were winning 2-0 in that, and then they pegged us back. And then the next week we get pegged back again, and all of a sudden, that's why it's still early. Because if they were, say, to go to Everton tomorrow, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a loss, if they drew that game and say Arsenal won, and you got Chelsea chasing and City still in it, all of a sudden, what was 9 points at the start of the week, by the end of the week now it's like 5 points. You know what I mean? Have been trimmed off that, and that's there was a fan that I interviewed the other night, and he said a week is a long time in football, especially when you're playing 3 games, because you could literally drop that 9 points in a week. You know what I mean? In all reality, but like you said, we have to win. We have to win. This is interesting here. This Rye 2796 says, Robbie and Turkish, what do you guys think of the Everton versus Liverpool game being possibly postponed due to snow and strong winds? Your thoughts? Now, there is a big sort of weather alert going out, today around a lot of the UK for really high winds. I didn't really see the snow, but high winds. And I think the Northwest which is, where Liverpool is one of those regions that could get, some very, very high winds. But, I mean, it would have to be really bad for them to cancel it. What those high winds might do, though, that might help Everton, because Everton the other night as well, they also deployed the old set pieces to great effect as well. And they've got a lot of height and they've got a lot of physicality, and they might be looking to listen. We've both been to Goodison. When that place gets popping, it's not an easy place to go to, is it?
No, especially for Liverpool.
Yeah,
the proof's in the pudding with them. Listen, play that game, man. Better not postpone that. High winds.
Yeah.
That's old school, man. OG stuff. You just put it in the air and see where it lands. Get the big one on head on that, and old school. Listen, play that game.
I need a bit of wind. That would suit Everton, man. Blustery. Sean Dyche.
Yeah.
That would.
Then again,
pouring down with rain.
Trent's technique, though. He might utilize that wind himself.
Them blustery winds where the ball's blowing in all different directions of that. It's hard to play in that,
Hard when you think the ball's gonna come down for a header and then it's just a bit short or a bit. It's mad.
Yeah, we need Liverpool just to get a little setback. But listen, it means nothing if we don't win our game. And remember, last year at Fulham, that was one of our worst performances last season. I remember we went there. It was just before Christmas, wasn't it? Was it Boxing Day? Was it Boxing Day? Or was it just
because West Ham lost and then Fulham
lost to West Ham? Then we went to them the week after, innit? And then we lost to them.
Yeah.
And I remember watching that game and thinking, hey, what's up with these guys? And we went 1-0 up in the game as well. And it was so flat. It was a really bad performance. And if we turn up there like that this weekend, we won't win. They're a good side. I was very impressed. It's a very impressive win over Brighton. They got a lot of players on form. Iwobi's cooking. He's playing really well at the moment. You know what I mean? Harry Wilson's been scoring goals. Obviously, Reece Nelson won't be able to play. I think he's got a bit of an injury anyway. He might not even been able to play anyway. But he's he's tied up because of his loan move. But of course, they do have Emil Smith-Rowe. He's hit the ground running there. He's been doing well. This is a tough game, Turkish.
Yeah.
Last season, we only took 1 point off of Fulham. They drew with us at home, and we lost to them away. This is not going to be easy.
No, I don't think. I expect a tougher test defensively against Fulham in terms of our defense. I expect them to go for it a bit more. They're the home team as well. They've got players that used to play for us, which gives them the added edge, especially Emil Smith-Rowe, who could feel hard done by. You know, he could use that to his benefit. It's always interesting when an ex-player plays against the club they just signed from. So they've got the ingredients to really put it on us. But at the same time, I feel like that will actually leave us with more space to play. Odegaard to work his magic. I think Man United are the only team to really stop Odegaard since he's been back since the international break. Only been a handful of games, but in those 3 games, Odegaard was cooking every single time. And to be honest, if Havertz finished, I think that was Odegaard that would have got the assist. But and
the Saka one. That one where that beautiful ball he played for Saka, and Saka just went near post instead of doing what he'd normally do, put it right.
He was offside, but the pass was neat. The
pass was beautiful. That was Odegaard. You know what I mean? So they cost him a couple of assists.
But all round, we expect him to be on the ball more, and I think Fulham will give us that space, but they'll also give us something to think about. Now, it probably makes me need Calafiori or Gabriel back. One of them at the very least. I feel like we need back in the lineup because Kivior, Zinchenko, I think they've done well. Kivior in particular, but if Gabriel and Calafiori are out, I think United might have been surprised by them two being that. Hence why Dalot didn't play. Whereas Fulham might expect and might seek to get an advantage on that side because we know, Zinchenko's good, Kivior's good, but it's not Gabriel, it's not Calafiori, it's not Timber, whoever else played on that side. So there's a weakness there, but I expect a good game. When I was speaking to James earlier for the match preview, I think it was, match preview, he thinks it might be a bit of a dull game, maybe a tactical battle, but I think it'll be because of the added edge. Emil to be given 110. Iwobi, like you said, he's in a very nice goal the other night. He's in a bit
2
of
goals.
Yeah, 2 goals. Yeah, but the second one was neat. It was a nice little finish. But I mean, I expect a tough game. I expect our defense to be tested, but I expect to win. We have to.
Yeah. Tough game. No Tom Kearney for them who got sent off the other day, so he's out. And I think Reece Nelson, obviously he can't play, but apart from that, they don't really have much injury worries. And like you said, Gabriel and Calafiori could return. And it sort of sounded to me today. I mean, he done his usual Mikel Arteta. Well, we'll see what they're like tomorrow, kind of thing. I get the feeling that because if you listen to sort of what he said, it was sort of like, well, Gabriel, we were a bit unsure about him. Calafiori, we were a bit unsure about him the other night. We didn't want to take the risk. Now they've had a bit of extra time. Hopefully, at least one of them, and we were, especially, being Gabriel, we back for this game. Ricky Proctor with a super chat says, with 3 to 4 opposition players on Saka and Odegaard, the left wing is all important, more than a striker, to use the space and cause mayhem. Yeah, that's very true. And, would you start Martinelli in that game, or would it be
I'm
He's a little
struggling
bit wasteful the other night, wasn't he?
with both of them, if I'm honest with you. Anytime we see the other play, we're asking, should the other one come back in? All season, it's been that 1-2 games. Should we give the other one a start? 1-2 games, the other one needs to come back. Neither of them are really great. Martinelli, man, what's happened? What has happened? He was so exciting a couple of years ago. Now it's just you know what's happening. Like he's just not on it. There's something. Listen. He hasn't advanced his game. You know, at one point, you know, there was him and Saka either side, numbers looking similar in terms of overall how important they was for the attack, especially that 21-22 season. Look at Saka now and look at Martinelli now, man. And Trossard's always going to be a better sub than a starter. Like we can't be putting our plan B wing signing or plan B signing from January 2023. Because let's not forget it was a plan B. And I'm not dissing him for that. I'm just listen to that in terms of the people before they think I'm dissing him. Quality buy. But we can't be putting our plan B signing from January 2023 as our go-to left winger in the 23-24 season, 24-25 season when we're trying to go, for the title and we're trying to win. So we've left ourselves short. Does Martinelli play? I think Martinelli was poor against United. So Trossard probably...
I think he should have scored. He had that chance in the first half, innit? Remember that chance where he hit that wide end?
Yeah, second half as well. Remember when he was free as a bird? The defender's there, and he just walked up to the defender and a tame shot. The defender blocked. And even
yeah. And the other thing with him, I want to see him taking on players a bit more. You know what I mean? He isn't really, you know what I mean? Where a Saka sort of, he's taking on and beating players. He's not really doing that. You know what I mean? It's a hard one with him because I still love him as a player, and the work he does off the ball is tremendous. Especially the other night, he done tremendous work off the ball. But he's got to get a bit sharper. I was even looking back. I was watching that game last night at Bournemouth against Spurs, right? And I just was remembering that big chance he got at 0-0, where the ball. Remember, the ball got passed to him.
Yeah.
And he wasted it. That could have been a different game. Remember that?
That was 1-1 Brighton. That was 1-1 Brighton.
Yeah.
He done it. He was just there. The goal was in front of him.
Yeah. I think it's a big season still for him. Like,
I was looking at him the other night against United, and I was thinking, I think your job might be to win corners. Because the amount of times, like, he's so predictable in terms of he's going to slow it down, then he's going to go again. He's going to try get the ball in the box. That I'm thinking they know now, but you're winning corners out of it. So I'm thinking to myself,
that still might be a good thing.
Team needs to do tactical insight. Let us know how many corners we win per game with Martinelli and how many.
That's interesting. Yeah,
Trossard doesn't do that as much, does he? He'll come inside Trossard.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
We're gonna have to ask James. We have to get James on that one, man.
Yeah,
Shannon Hollis with a super chat says, was Gabriel out because of a potential concussion from the punch at West Ham, or was there a specific news about the injury? They've been very shady on this injury. Now, it's interesting because the other night, you was at the studio the other night, but we had this doctor in the studio who's like he's a doctor at a Premier League team. And I was asking about that. I said, do you reckon it's concussion? And he said, if you say out loud this sort of concussion sort of, thing, then there's these big protocols that come into where, players got to literally, I can't remember the amount of days a player's got to be out, but they have to be out. And he goes, the Premier League get involved and all that. And he goes, but if you think to yourself, all right, it may not be concussion, but obviously he got punched in the head, we don't want to risk him. You do it that way. You can just then rest him for a couple of days and then he's back in. So the answer to that, Shannon, is really and truly, nobody knows, isn't it? Nobody knows. They've not really.
I think if it was concussion, I think if it was,
he'd be out longer, wouldn't he?
Yeah, and we would have known, like leading up to the game, it wouldn't be, I think someone or something would have come out to say, yeah, concussion, he'll be missing the game, even if it is I don't know. Surely it'd be known news. It wouldn't be. And the way we subbed him off at half time, so it wasn't like we used an extra sub, which would be the concussion sub. So
yeah,
and he got punched, but come on, people, like he's all right.
Well, he get punched in his head. You know what I mean?
Okay, man, that's Gabriel as well. We're not talking about Theo.
Well, you know what I mean?
We're talking about Gabriel, man. Big man, like he's all right. He got a little.
I think Tyson Fury get punched in his head and still go down. You know, he's about 8 foot. You know what I mean? So you know?
Don't even use Fury after Tommy pulled out of this Darren Till. Sorry.
Yeah. What do you reckon to that?
He's pulled out. So like, because I don't know if you saw it, but Darren Till in the press conference said, "If I'm losing the fight, I'm gonna kick you in the head, bro." Tommy Fury 2 weeks later pulls out. I'm thinking, what? Nah, that's easy. Back on. You get him on I'm a Celebrity or something.
Pavan Sheet says, you two should start a podcast. Call it When Delusion Meets Realism. Who's the deluded one? Right? He says, on a serious note, Rob, do you really think Martinelli and Havertz, as a two of us, them starting up of a front three, can win us the league? Listen, I've been saying since the summer, we need a striker. We should have went out and got a striker. Or if we didn't get a striker, that wide player. I think you can see now why Arsenal were desperate to sign Nico Williams. Because I think if you've got that player that can do what Saka does on the other side, then all of a sudden defenders are occupied. They don't know, you know what I mean? You can't double up all of them, can you? Basically, you got, you know, so
easy. Man, you're putting 4 man there, let alone 2.
It wouldn't surprise me in January if they went out and got a wide player for that left side. Wouldn't surprise me. I don't know who. I don't know who's available, but it wouldn't completely surprise me. I don't know.
I think.
What do you think?
The left wing, like at this moment in time, if
still got 2 good players there.
I look at the 3, the left wing is definitely not delivering as much as even striker, but definitely not right wing. So I'm tired of this whole left wing or striker thing. I think we're in a position now where it's both, but left wing is probably the area we can improve. I don't even want to say more in, because I know what a striker can do for the upfront position. But the way I look at it in January is with strikers, we know there's one there that bangs and he's got a release clause. Now, if we're thinking about left wingers, I feel like if we wait till the summer, there could be a... Listen, I'm looking at Rodrigo at Real and I'm looking at their situation, the number of attackers they've got, and I'm thinking potentially there's a chance there. So do we ruin that by getting our plan B again in January? Like, because don't forget, the plan B from January 2023 is still fighting for a starting place now, which is okay on one hand, but on the other hand, it's like, how? Like, you know, how are we still? So I think left wing needs to stay till summer. Striker, we need to... Ornstein's just... there's a clip of him going around saying, we're not interested in Gyökeres yet. It might change, but all of that. I don't want to hear that nonsense, because striker. Gyökeres is the one that I know you can get because of the release clause. Left wing, I don't even want to entertain that right now, because like I said, I feel like in the summer, and Rodrigo's just the one that's on, the tip of my tongue right now. But I feel like in the summer there might be more options for that left wing position.
Yeah, Shannon's not happy with Cecil's intros. Don't worry, Shannon. None of us are, but he just could persist with it.
Robbie, if you did smash everything, the one today. Oh my God, Robbie!
Well, not more cornier than normal, was it?
Forget corny. It was trash. It was complete and utter trash, that intro, and he knows it. He knows it. He was. It was like 7 sentences. How can his intro go from a couple sentence poetry to 7 sentence?
No, I'm shutting this down now. You know what I mean? I've had enough of it.
Tell him, man. His job's on the line.
Do you know what? All right, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
If you could get Gyökeres in January, but if you wait, you can get Isak in the summer, what would you do?
Yeah, Gyökeres in January.
Would you?
Yeah. Listen, we're 7 points off now. If we get into January and manage to close that to 5 potentially, and you get a Gyökeres in on top of that, come on. Like we've never done that in terms of be at that crucial stage in January, whether it was for top 4 or the title, and really bring in someone that
I'd wait, Turkish. I'd wait. That guy, Isak, every time I see him play, I'm like, that guy, it's almost like he's been engineered. If I could pick a player to play for Arsenal right now, it's him. It's like he's engineered to play for Arsenal. He would just fit us so much, man. Like, he's quick. He's a brilliant finisher. He's got that swagger about him and style. He looks like a player that doesn't always have to stay strictly central. He could drift out wide. You know what I mean? I like this player, man. I'd wait. I don't. It's an interesting one. I'd love to hear from you guys out there. What's your opinion on it? But he's so good, man. You see the goal he scored the other night?
Yeah. Listen, Isak in moments has shown some real quality over the last 2.5, 3 years. Yeah, the injuries on the other side put doubt into that. But if you give me an injury-free Isak or Gyökeres in January, it's Isak. But because I feel like this season, look at Man City. They're not the same. No. We need to take advantage of this, and if we cut this gap to 5 points, even if it remains at 7, Rob, I feel like bringing in a striker is the least they can do. You know,
but the thing is with Gorka, would we get him in? This is the thing, because I remember when we was over in Lisbon the other day, and I was chatting to that Sporting fan, and I said, when I said January, he goes, no chance. I said, yeah, but there's a release clause. He goes, no, he won't leave. He goes, he'll want to honor, like, you know, he want to honor and stay on. And when you think about it, as the player, you're a real hero at the moment at Sporting, yeah? Sporting have got a chance to win the league again, and he'll be the main man. Sporting are going to go through in the Champions League, innit? They're going to go through to the next stage. And then the player himself knows that come the summer, he's going to get his move. Regardless, if he doesn't go in January, in the summer, whether it be Arsenal, whether it be Man United, whether it be a whole host of clubs around Europe, they're coming knocking for him, because he's done it now 2 seasons in a row with that goal-scoring record. He's got the release clause in his contract. So he might just say, I ain't going nowhere. He might put it out there and just say, you know what, even if people meet the release clause, I'm not ready to go until the summer.
But he came out and he started the season after the window ended and said he was surprised that no one really came in for him and he didn't get him.
Well, he was upset. He was upset because he was sort of like saying, basically what he was saying is that Sporting have priced him out of his big move. But now that he's there, I don't know. I can't see him going in January.
No, man. Boy, he's been there a year and a half, Rob. He doesn't.
No, he has. But what I'm saying is, think of it if it was you, yeah, and you know that, because remember, a release clause. All right, a release clause doesn't mean you have to definitely leave. You know what I mean? Because sorry,
it's up to you then, isn't it?
It's still, it's up to you. But now, if you're at Sporting and you're an absolute legend and hero, the way those fans love him at Sporting, you know what I mean?
Who wouldn't love him?
You're just saying to yourself, it's January. When you look at it as a footballer, it's January. You look at it, you're thinking January, February, March, April, May, right? 4 more months at Sporting, then I get my big move. I'm still going to get my big move. He might be just thinking, I'll just stay here, leave here a hero. Let me leave Sporting with a good taste in. You know what I mean? There are players, listen, they're mercenary players who'll just be like, right, I'm gone. But I get the feeling with him, he's the sort of player to be like, nah, let me stick it out till the end of the season.
But if he was that sort of player, he would have come out at the start of the season and said there was no chance I was leaving Sporting. I've been here a year. I'm loved, and you know the future's bright. Instead, he came out to moan and say, essentially, you know, I didn't get the move I wanted. Trust me, the manager's just bounced as well. So like, you know, trust me, we got to go in and make an offer at least. At the very least, let's do that. Let's break that release clause at the very least and let him reject us. He won't.
If it ain't him, who else?
In January.
Yeah, who else have you seen that you thought, all right, go and get him then?
In January. I haven't thought of a plan B. Because of Isak was the one I wanted.
And you're always cussing people for not thinking of a plan B. Come on, I mean, you should have a plan B ready there.
Nah,
You're always up and saying this and that. You should have your plan B in place.
when it's the final few pieces of the puzzle, it needs to be plan A's. You know, we've got where we are with a few plan B's, yeah, along the way.
Mm.
Those last two pieces, it's got to be plan A.
So
But
if it's not a plan A, then nothing.
Don't tell me plan A is Sesko, because you know a lot of people are saying that we
Could
got
be.
something to win this season. Forget about Sesko in July. We got unless he's got a release clause in January, he might do. Let us know in the chat because he signed the contract with a release clause, right?
Didn't he sign a new deal as well, or extension or something?
I think there was a release clause in there. Is that active in January? Whoever's got a release clause, Gyökeres, one of them, let's go for him. If Sesko has that, and that's the profile and the one we've been waiting for, go for him. Let's just get them in now.
Mm. Going back to
big signings are rare in January. I know this, but title challenges at the Emirates are rare as well. So let's try and make one count.
Here's one for you, Suj. He says, I know it's too early to talk about transfers, but in January, it's not that far. Listen, Suj, it's only a few weeks away, right? He said, could we get Gula on loan? He can play left 8 with his left foot swinging balls in his class. Now, this is an interesting one, and you're the expert here. Is your fellow Turkish player. Brilliant in the Euros. Hardly getting a kick at the moment at Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Do you think, but then it's Odegaard's position, isn't it?
It's Odegaard. He can play off the right like Saka, but those are the two positions we need covering, right? And he's got a high ceiling. But even if it is a loan, at least then you know you can probably rotate Odegaard or Saka out and still get a quality player in his place. The thing about Güler is he came into Real ACL straight away. Unfortunate. Don't forget he's young as well. But towards the end of last season, but even when he returned from the injury, Ancelotti's not a young player guy, really. He's not on that. Endrick hasn't played much either. Let's not forget how much hype there was, more hype about him. But Ancelotti's not that guy. But Güler in the summer, after ending the season well, smashing it for Turkey, he said, you know what, he was questioned. He was like, should you go out on loan? You're young. Mbappe's come in on top of everyone else in attack. And he was like, I'm going to stay and fight. Now, obviously, that fight isn't going well because he hasn't been trusted much at all. But Ancelotti might not be there come January. That's how, Real's form hasn't been great at all. So if it's a new manager, Güler's probably the type of guy to say, "Nah, I want to prove myself here." If it's still Ancelotti, I'd say that there's a potential for a loan. And North London is home away from home for Turkish people. So you'd hope that he comes, gets used to it. Turkish food galore, people galore, language galore. And it's like, then he might see something. Ozil was here. I know Ozil didn't pick Turkey, but Turkish, origin or nationality. So, yeah, there is a chance there. There's a chance.
But why would he, though? Why would he leave somewhere where he's not playing to go somewhere else where he's not playing? You leave one place where you're a backup to go be backup somewhere else. Why would he do that?
Good question, but he believes in himself as well. The whole point of him staying at Real this season was to fight with Bellingham and fight with Brahim Diaz and fight with Rodrigo and fight with these players to start. At Arsenal, there isn't that number of players. Now, I know the two positions in particular he plays in predominantly, that's our two strongest attacking positions, front four, front five, etc. But I'd say he's up. I'd say he's a type of character to be up for the challenge. Like, for a young guy, he's quite he's very confident. Like, not arrogant, he's confident. So I think he would entertain it, if I'm honest.
Okay, it's turning into a bit of a transfer show now. I'll tell you what. And this is a Guna. It says Osimhen. He's not rated anymore, but he's available.
There you go. Bang. Another. If it's not Gyökeres, go get Osimhen.
And actually, he's doing really well, isn't he? Over there at Galatasaray, he's been scoring goals.
Yeah, he for the Turkish league, like, you'd expect more, but he took his time to settle in, but he's scoring goals, and we're not in a position to, in my opinion, wait, pick and choose anymore. It's not about patience. It's not about phases anymore. For me, Osimhen might not be the guy for the next 4 or 5 years, but he might be the guy for the next 6-18 months. We are that close. We are that close to being a complete side. So why not? Imagine a Gyökeres and a Güler, or a Osimhen and a Güler in January. Do you know what that does? Forget the quality they bring on the pitch. Do you know what that does for the rest of the team? The morale. They would think, well, we're going to do this,
Yeah, this guy says Mamouche, who's the Egyptian player, has been killing it over there in the Bundesliga. I think that would be an unlikely January move. That'd be a very expensive one if it did happen.
Yeah.
Probably more towards the end of the season, but he's another player that's going to get a lot of interest. And what about this one? Rodrigo on the left, says Bravin.
Yeah, that's the January impossible, but
not is he out injured though, Rodrigo?
He was. I don't know. Maybe he might return, but he was out when they played Liverpool, right?
Yeah, it's turning into Kudus. He hates West Ham, says Mazen.
I like Kudus.
I like him.
We should have signed him the summer that West Ham signed him.
Yeah, Lookman.
I never thought of him, but when we was linked to him, I was like, it was the last week of the window, and I was like, yeah, I'll take him. Like, he's improved, but now we're here when it's the start of the next window. Unless Lookman's a January signing, cool, but not your star signing in the summer.
Oh, here comes a brilliant suggestion. Well done to Rampage. I almost forgot about this guy. What about this guy, Turkish?
You see his goal the other day?
I knew you was going to say that.
Patson Daka 1, Eddie Nketiah 0. Yeah, let's just know this right now. Yeah, for all those people, because that was the argument. Daka's better than Eddie. That was the only 1-0.
Get Patson Daka. It was a great goal the other day.
Yeah,
great finish.
You ever seen Eddie do that? No.
No, he banged in a goal like that one time, didn't he?
No, Sheffield United, he scored a banger, yeah, but Daka's done that as well. But I mean, take the ball from halfway line, run, cut it inside. Oh, come on. Not even cut inside. He gave the defender the shoulder on his left foot. Rocket. But you're gonna get me. You're gonna get me clipped, and people are gonna think I want Daka now.
Vlahovic.
That guy, man.
No.
There's two players there with release clauses, Gyökeres and Osimhen. After those two, why? Like, I'd ask why. Like, just
it's really turned into a transfer show, because this is a good point that He-Man makes. He goes, "We've got Ethan." Now that's the thing. If you bring in a Gula, what happens to Ethan Nwaneri?
He chills out a bit. What do you mean?
Come on, man.
We can't have more. What do you mean we can't have more talent? I don't get it.
Nah, but you see, this is but here we have the balance that you have as a manager and a recruitment team. You got to have, right, because you got an unbelievable talent that's coming through.
Mm-hmm.
If you go and bring in a Gula, who's another unbelievable talent, by the way, but you bring him in on loan, you're blocking Nwaneri, isn't you?
But it's come like, if Nwaneri was playing now, Rob, we wouldn't be talking about being light behind Odegaard and Saka. The reason we're talking about that is because Arteta doesn't feel like Nwaneri's ready yet properly. Let's be honest here. When push comes to shove, that's why we're saying we're light in the 10 and Saka's position, because we like Nwaneri, but he's 17 and Arteta doesn't trust him enough. Whereas Güler is a couple years older, been at a higher level for a longer time. He's gone to the Euros as well and helped carry the team essentially. Well, let me not say that because the team in general was good, but I mean, be the focal point. So he's got a bit more experience that Arteta might lean on more. Like, I don't see the problem. It's not like Nwaneri's getting minutes now. If he was, you're gonna block him. You are gonna block his, because he's getting more and more minutes. Not alone though.
He's getting more and more minutes, and I think like in the second part of the season, you'll see him play a lot more games. He's going to get the FA Cup games probably and stuff like that. You would be blocking him if you brought in a Gula.
But Leicester at home, Southampton at home, Odegaard's not there, and you don't start him.
Yeah,
I don't even think second half of the season. Whereas with Güler, you get a player that Arteta you'd think would start if you need him to start, or you need to take a Saka or a Odegaard out. At this moment in time, if Odegaard's injured next, we know Arteta's probably going to go a bit more stiff in midfield rather than put Nwaneri in there.
I want to ask the people out there, right? You guys out there, what would you do? right? Would you get Gula if that ended up blocking the progress of Ethan Wanier? I'd like to know. Martina says, players we should be looking at. Gimaresh, no chance of getting him in January. Zubamendi, there is a chance that he could go in January, although he's been very loyal to Real Sociedad over the years, but apparently Liverpool are interested in him. Man City are interested in him, especially City now. Anthony Gordon, no chance. He's just signed a new deal. He's not going to be going anywhere. Semenya, he's looked good, but he's right. He's on the right-hand side, isn't he, Semenya? So,
that'd be back up.
Yeah, Gorkarez, Isak, Rodrigo. We need 2 or 3 of those across January and the summer, says Martina. Yeah, you guys are really coming heavy with the transfer. Someone else is saying Liao. You know, your guy here, Openda, he's bagging the goals.
That's what Openda does, man. He bags the goals.
Is he the answer?
He might be.
Oh, this one here with a super chat. He says Ruben's on Cunha. I do like him.
Yeah, I like him. I don't think he's the one though. I don't see a killer in him in front of goal.
He's not a striker, but he's quality, man. And I think at a team like Arsenal, he'd be even better. Kvaratskhelia of Napoli, class, but no chance of getting him in January.
Yeah, we're talking January here. You're right.
WMIW, Robbie Land, Tommy Fellow, Turkish man.
Oh, to my fellow.
To my fellow. Oh, it's a Tommy Fellow. It's all in one word. Yeah, and he says he liked Gorkarez. KD says Robin T preferred order Osimhen, Gorkarez, Vlahovic. Osimhen's definitely gettable. Because Napoli desperately want to offload him. Guillermo says, I'm enjoying these stream, guys. Please enjoy my tip. Thank you very much. Really do appreciate it. Brother Seamus says, what about Santi Jimenez or Boniface?
I mean, the names have gone quite, but Boniface, last season, his name came up quite a lot. I know Leverkusen ain't been on the same form they was last season. I think they're 3rd now, which is not bad, still not far behind, but his name's quite down in terms of links. But we're talking January here. You can't get a lot. January, I'm looking at release clauses really to make it easier, smoother.
Yeah, well, you got to come up with somebody that
for loan.
Unexpected, you know what I mean? Shannon Hollis, once again with another super chat. Thank you, Shannon. Says, congrats to Martin Odegaard and his wife Helen on the birth of their son. Excuse me, Arsenal's future playmaker. Of course, congratulations going out to him. I think there's a lot of people breathing a sigh of relief that baby's been born and that he'll still be able to play for selfish reasons. He'll still be able to play on Sunday. Right. When I was hearing that his wife's about to give birth, right, I'm thinking, oh man.
Yeah.
I don't want Sunday to come in and like
the latest
he's out. You know that when you hear it, out for personal reasons.
Yeah. Now he needs to come and bag a goal and do your celebration, brother.
Yeah. Or the ball under your you know what I mean?
One of them.
Welbeck on a 6-month loan.
Is this 2014 or?
You've been having a great season, Welbeck. He's really been rolling back the years.
I'm not happy that Danny Welbeck played for Arsenal. Do you know how many players I don't care about in this last 20 years? Like, he's one of them. I don't really. You're well done to him. He's scoring goals.
I like Welbeck, man.
Listen, the Man United go in the FA Cup. Thank you very much. Aside from that, I don't know why we signed him for Man United. And but let's not. It's not a ripping Welbeck thing. It's just in general. I don't really.
All right. We need KG up front. Mateta. All right. You could just imagine if Arsenal had Mateta up front. That's another one for the set pieces. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the thing is, Marino. Remember, we was talking before. Marino's another one that in his brief this season, he's been a threat from set pieces.
Yeah. I want Arsenal right in the January transfer window to go bring in some 6'7" player, right?
Oh,
he's brilliant in the air, just all up on set pieces. You know what I mean?
Andy Carroll's still playing somewhere.
Oh no, not him. Footy Light says, respectfully, Gula is overrated. I'd rather Kashveli.
Another Turkish player. Nah, Gula's not overrated.
Nah, definitely. And this has been another rumor. Adam Wharton.
Yeah, I saw that. again, name quieting down a bit. I haven't really watched Palace this season.
Yeah, he's not really been playing much.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, we need attackers, Rob. Forget all
Chris
that.
Wood.
Listen, if it's January, if it's the last day of January and there's an hour to go, 2 hours to go, bring me Chris Wood. Just like don't.
Listen, you don't want a desperation thing, man.
What Sterling? You lot was dancing about Sterling. Now you tell me I don't want desperation thing. It's
Chris Wood.
I would have rather Chris Wood than Sterling on deadline day.
Chris Wood.
Yeah, Christopher Wood.
Christopher Wood. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I done me the other day as well. Christopher Wood. Going back to the game on Sunday. What would be your team then? What's your preferred team? Your 11.
Yeah, so this is assuming Gabriel Calafiori out.
Yeah, because I want you to give me. Obviously, if they're fit, they're in. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they're out,
I'd go Kivior, Lewis Skelly if they're out.
Ooh, Lewis Skelly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Instead of Zinchenko.
Yeah. Arteta's done it a couple of times. It sounds more shocking than it is.
Why?
Because I'm more interested in seeing Lewis Skelly's progress and for him to progress. And when we've seen him play for us, it's not like he's cost us anything or been a liability. He looks quite solid in the position. Zinchenko's kind of tried, tested, got us to a place where we now look at him as a bit of a liability. He started against United. I don't think he played that well in terms of what he's meant to bring, the attacking side of things, the extra man in midfield. So why not? It's a bit of bias as well. Lewis Skelly, I think he's, in the shadows a bit of Nwaneri in terms of youngsters coming through. I think he's a very good prospect as well. So, yeah.
What about this guy?
I used to love Tierney, right? But we can't be seeing Tierney touch the pitch now, man. 2024, man.
Why?
Because we know he's not favoured. We know his heart's not in it. We know it's just like...
He's still there.
He's still there because he got injured, so we couldn't
sell him.
That's all. That's the only reason he's here. No one would have bought him injured.
Kieran Tierney, remember, it could be a Adama Traore against Zinchenko.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a mismatch, whichever one, because all of our left backs available are small. Tierney, Zinchenko, and Lewis Skelly. They're all small. So in terms of unit against it's not great. But I guess who is the fastest out of the three? We haven't seen Tierney play for years, so I don't know about him. Zinni, is Lewis Skelly fast? I don't know about that.
Matrix, the official Funkster says, unpopular opinion, but in my opinion, Calafiori has been very poor. Savio and Hakimi had field days against him. Transitions on the right-hand side are too dangerous. I don't think he's been poor. Listen, he's just come. So we do have to give him a chance to kind of settle in. You know what I mean? If you just, come. But he's had some good games.
Yeah. I agree.
I think he's had some good games. I think, listen, I hear what you're saying, Barracks, and that there's been some games where, he's kind of dived in a bit, or you know what I mean. But I don't think he's been very poor.
I agree. Yeah, very poor is harsh because he's had moments in games where he's been caught, and he's not a left back. He's being molded into a left back. I know he's played there before, but imagine you've played centre back for a whole year. Let's say you join a new league, the toughest league, let's say, and then you get moved to left back. Of course, a couple times you're gonna get got at, like Savio. A couple times I remember that as well. But the reality is he's done well. Like he's done well. He hasn't looked out of place. He's coming to a side known defensively, and he hasn't looked out of place. So.
You see a player that you know is going to get better. That's what he looks like to me. You know what I mean? I've been comfortable with him. Footy lights. These are your peoples, man.
Yeah.
Raya is okay, but I really want Turkey's. That's Turkey's flag. Yeah, Turkey's goalkeeper from the Euros.
You remember that save against?
Brilliant.
Yeah, he has been. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Did that save the other night?
Maybe it's because I'm on the stream with the Turkish communities in the chat. Maybe I don't know. But remember that save against Austria? We got saved at a tournament in the game against Austria. No, right. Listen, Raya's been cold this season. I can't even lie. He's been one of our players of the season, top 3 for sure. For sure, top 3.
You could argue that he's been our best player.
Yeah,
he's definitely in that argument.
Him, Partey, Saka. You could argue for all 3.
Yeah. Because even the other night, that was a big save, man.
Yeah. It was.
That's a
It
big
was.
save, man. He's full stretch. Good save. You know, in a game we hadn't that much to do. You know. This guy's he's not too happy with you, Turkish. Genesis says Turkish complained about buying defenders instead of strikers. Lately, who wins us the games? And who thought we'd have loads of injuries in defence? Trust the coach. Not talking about Woods, right?
Can I reply to that? Because it's nonsense.
Of course you can.
Okay, Turkish complained about buying defenders instead of strikers. I did. Lately, who wins us games? They win us games because our striker and our attackers are not doing it enough, mate. And he said, we have loads of injuries in defence. We covered ourselves well in defence. Did we cover ourselves well in attack? When Odegaard was out, we flipped the script and changed to a defensive unit rather than an attacking side. Yes, we did. So, SMH myself.
That's not very nice.
Yeah, that's what they're here for, engagement, right? Like, I talk to the community, negative or positive.
Fair enough, says Barracks. He says, fair enough. It's just that left side is so nervy. Definitely, you know, is that another argument? This argument comes up a lot about that left-hand side. Is Martinelli getting the service that we see Saka get on the other side?
Probably not as much because it's been chop and change. But that doesn't excuse him getting the ball 5-10 yards away from the fullback and consistently letting us down. That's nothing to do with who's behind him, who's next to him. It's like we've seen him in multiple one-on-one positions. Like, look how quickly the ball got out to him and against Man United, and then he's just one-on. Was it Man United? Yeah, and then he's just one-on-one running at the do something, brother. Doesn't matter who's behind you, who's next to you. In that moment, do something. And again, he did nothing in front of goal against Brighton. Who's next to you, who's behind you, it does not matter. Do it. So there has been an impact there for sure. Xhaka, Jesus, and Martinelli. Martinelli was the best Martinelli. As soon as Jesus got injured, we saw a different Martinelli, but he picked it up at the end of the season. Xhaka goes, and we haven't seen the same one since. So there's impact there. But I'm sorry, you're paid good money. You're growing. Learn, do something else. Like you have to change it up.
Are you seeing improvements in Marino?
Yeah, I haven't been his biggest critic. I think he's been okay. Came into a poor side, but a poor performing side. I'm intrigued. I'm still interested to see him play some more games. Like he shouldn't have come in as the star signing this summer. He should have been one under the radar. But we need an 8. He is an 8. He needs more game time and he needs consistent game time. But Partey's the wild card. Partey's been so good this season, you can't drop him. And Rice is 100 million. So we're still kind of going with that. I just think long term, you're probably going to see Marino in there more.
Bet Drop Vine says, what about Toronto FC's? I haven't heard this guy. You heard this guy?
Don't say it.
Is that that's some sort of going back to the game then. We're running out of time on the show.
Yeah.
Your prediction.
3-1, 2-1, 3-1. Yeah, 3-1.
Yeah, I'm going. What did I go? I think I went 2. I've gone 2-0.
Clean sheet.
And I do fancy a set piece in that game as well, especially if Gabriel's back. I do fancy a set piece. I'm sure I saw them concede to a set piece the other day, Fulham as well. So did I? Was it against Brighton?
I can't remember.
But listen, we're gonna have to play well. They're a decent side.
Yeah.
Decent side. You know what I mean? Attacking side as well. You know what I mean? Saw their game when they played against Brentford. They played really well that night. Got last minute winner. Great win against Brighton. Certainly, we cannot take them lightly. If we do, we take them lightly, we get the same result we got last year, which is we lost.
And we can't
afford to lose. We've got no margin for error right now. We've got to keep those wins going until we at least get into the new year and then see where we are. But we really, really, really have to win that game. Barrick says, Robbie, thoughts on that chance that Havertz missed on Wednesday? Don't want to be negative, but I just imagine Isak there and thought he would have nestled that. I think you're right. I think Isak is a more clinical striker. I think the keeper did well. When I saw it back, I came home and I watched it and I was like, actually, keeper did very well. He comes out, makes himself really big. I think where he messed up on that Havertz, his touch was slightly heavy. So then the ball's a bit too far in front of him, because we have seen him lift those before and do well. But I don't know. Yeah, your Isak is players like that has got that slight bit of composure, which is what makes them finish those chances.
He's not,
you know, because they're just natural strikers, and I don't think Havertz is a natural striker. He's a player that's been turned into a striker, whereas Isak is a natural. Gyökeres natural. You can see Gyökeres don't even look like a player who could play anywhere else apart from down the middle. He's like a Haaland, where it's just like down the middle or nothing. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you couldn't imagine Haaland playing out wide or anything, could you? You know, it's just, he can only play one place, just down the middle. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, we've come to the end of the show today. I hope you've enjoyed it. We're here on a Friday night. Looking forward to the game on the weekend. Of course, it's a Sunday kickoff, 2 p.m. So we're looking forward to the game. Turkish, thank you very much, mate, for coming on. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. You'll be watching a game tomorrow, I'm sure, at 12:30.
Yeah, I will be. I'm taking little man to Santa's Grotto tomorrow as well, so I gotta get that.
I love that. Love that. Yeah. No, don't get blown away in that wind, man. It's going to be pretty hectic out there.
Well, I think that's up north.
Well, yeah, they're saying it's going to be kind of all over, but it's going to be worse up north. I'm staying in tomorrow, mate. I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, my son won't like to hear that.
Anyway, nice one, Turkish man. And thank you to you guys out there for joining us today. Brilliant show. And we'll be back next Friday. Take care.